everybody's doing well. It's time for another video, so let's jump into it, shall we? So I've been pretty active on my TikTok, and a lot of it lately has been talking about the shift in the Democrat Party. For example, how Obama has deported more illegal aliens than any other president, and now that Trump's doing it, it's a bad thing. Or how about Biden and past presidents who have promised to cut the fat, as Biden put it, cut wasteful spending is what it is. Trump's doing it with Elon Musk, and now it's a bad thing. We can talk about how tariffs back in 1998 through 2003, Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, and Bernie Sanders talks about tariffs being unfair because of how much the other countries are tariffing America, and America paying so low in tariffs, and that's costing American jobs. That's what they argued for, saying, hey, we need reciprocal tariffs. Trump did that, but it's a bad thing. Now, I'm asking for the change. Why the change? And I'm not getting any answers as far as why that change is happening. But what I am getting is a lot of hate and no answers. I get attacked from my teeth, called MAGA, told I'm in a cult, and more. But I don't get answers to the question. I get things not related and a ton of hate. The thing is, they use Trump for that hate, but as far as the reasoning for the shift or change in the Democrat Party, that talk, that conversation, it can be had no matter who's in office. So there's no reason for them to be responding to me using their hatred of Trump. It doesn't matter who's in office. Yeah, Trump's doing it, and now it's a bad thing. Why? Is it a bad thing because Trump's in office? That Trump's doing it? Is it a bad thing for some other reason? They won't answer that question. Answering that question, having a conversation about that along with, hey, I'm for smaller government, lower taxes. You're for the opposite of that. Okay, that's fine. Talk to me. Why? Let me understand your position. They don't want to do that. They don't want to do that. See, I believe in having a respectful conversation that leads to understanding and finding common ground. And if we're really lucky, we can work to find solutions, even better solutions than what's already out there, to the problems we have. Even the division can be solved with communication. See, I believe in having a respectful conversation about our differences that can lead to understanding, finding common ground, and to find solutions to problems works more than just hate and division. Sadly, I don't think the other side is interested in working together or even understanding each other. They've tried to remove 2 of my videos on TikTok, which one appeals and put back up after being taken down. I see them do it to other conservatives and people who don't fall in line with the way they think. I see them calling Trump an authoritarian and say that we support authoritarianism, all while acting authoritarianism themselves. The fact of the matter is, when you don't want to work together or understand each other for the hope of understanding, coming up with better solutions, but instead you work to silence anyone who thinks differently than you, you want authoritarianism with only the people who think the way you do. And that's really the sum up, be up of it all. I mean, there's people out there saying, not just myself, let's work together, let's understand each other, let's respect each other. And they throw out everything from any kind of hate of my looks, hate of Trump, whatever. I don't get it. Even when I point out things that I agree with the other side, that the other side did, nope, that goes nowhere, doesn't get heard either. I mean, Obama, under his administration, they took all gain-of-function research off of American soil, and I felt that was a great thing. Now, there's plenty with Obama I did not agree with, but to be fair, I can point out what I liked that he did. Obama was a great speaker. I mean, he's probably the greatest speaker. He knew how to talk to the American people. He was great behind the mic. Probably the greatest I've seen in my lifetime. I can give him those credits. Clinton proposed a balanced budget, right? He spoke very openly of securing our borders and enforcing our immigration laws. Hey, this is what the other side was doing under their administrations. I can point out those great things, but in return, even when I say that, I still get hate. That's why there's no way you can convince me otherwise, that they are the ones wanting authoritarianism. But hey, it is what it is. Before we go into our next topic, though, I hope you would take a moment to hit the like and subscribe if you haven't yet, especially if you would like to see more content like this. It helps the channel grow, reach more people. It's all about pushing the algorithm. Share it with someone yourself who might like to see it, whether it be someone that disagrees with you or maybe someone who agrees with you that wants to hear it explained a different way or just needs a little more detail than what they have. Who knows? It just those extra views on that helps the channel grow. Now, I would love to hear from y'all. You can leave a comment what you thought about this video. You can reach me on Facebook, X, Twitter, and even an email link, all in the description below and in the bio. Tell me what it is you might want to see me talk about. Like I said, I love to talk about news, politics, and religion. So if you have a question in any of that, just feel free to reach out. And if you don't want me to say your name or where you're from, please include that information with your message, and I will gladly respect your wishes. Other than that, if you have a YouTube channel yourself, send the link with that. I'll put it in the description of the video I talk about the topic you suggest. Okay? Let's help each other. I look forward to hearing from you. Let's continue the show. So, some of the comments I get on my TikTok videos asking for conversation is January 6th. Now, this is brought up to dismiss the points I make and avoid the conversation I'm asking for from those that don't think the way I do or others like myself. They want to avoid that conversation being asked to change in the Democrat Party. They don't want to understand each other. So that's what they use. They use Trump's hatred to get around talking about that. But Jan 6 is a big thing. So let's talk about it. To start, I suggest reading an article by Lawfare Media. It's a good read about how the committee conducted the hearing. Early in the article, it lists the 7-part plan Trump used to attack our democracy and overthrow our government. And then reads, note, these 7 points are emphatically not the elements of any known crime, though they may overlap with any of several crimes in important respects. Note as well that the committee did not follow the federal rules of civil or criminal procedure in determining the admissibility of evidence, so it would be a mistake to assume that if the committee has established its case, that translates into anything for purpose of either criminal or civil liability. Rather, the committee in these hearings told a story with the 7 points as its chapter headings. The public, in turn, gets to decide just how convincing that story was. A lot to unpack there, and there's more in the article, but this is a good focus point because you'll see here in a minute. Let's look at the word emphatically. It means without a doubt. Let's look where it says, where the elements of any known crime, they may overlap with any several crimes in important respects. Let's just change may to might, and now I'll read it again with those two things in mind. Note that these 7 points are without a doubt not the elements of any known crime, though they might overlap with any of several crimes in important respects. Note as well that the committee did not follow the federal rules of criminal or civil procedure in determining the admissibility of evidence, so it would be a mistake to assume that the committee has established its case that translates into anything for purposes of either criminal or civil liability. So do you see how that alone sounds very different? But why word it in such a way that they did? Well, you have to understand that this committee was not established to determine guilt or innocence, but rather tell a narrative or a version of the story and let the people decide. This is basically what's being said in the second part of what we're reading here. However, we need to point out that the article also says that the committee did not follow federal rules of criminal or civil procedure in determining the admissibility of evidence. Now, being fair, I have to point out that since this was not a trial or lawsuit, they don't have to follow those rules. However, in not doing so, we can see how one-sided this is when a committee is formed to investigate January 6th, and it only talks about it being a Trump insurrection and not determining whether Trump was behind it or not. So, in short, they can throw whatever evidence, testimony, verified or not, into this. So that's why it's important to note they did not follow criminal or civil procedure in determining the admissibility of evidence. They didn't have to. Now you see where this is kind of coming together a bit. Remember where the article said, let the people decide? What is the people's decision going to be when they're only given one side of the story without questioning of evidence? We are told to accept it all at face value, never questioning anything. So what are the people deciding on? They're not getting anything to counterweight that decision. They're getting one side of it. A narrative, a story. Well, the committee doesn't tell you about the FBI, who had over 26 agents on the ground during the protest. One Ray Epps, for sure, egging on the idea of storming the Capitol multiple times throughout the evening before it all. Yet to this day, you will still find news articles saying no FBI agents on the ground, still posted to Google, even though we know this not to be true with other videos and news articles. Then you look at the fact that years later, Ray Epps was only given a year probation for his role. How many other people waited much longer for a trial and received far worse punishment? Ray Epps was not even arrested or charged until years later. Got his trial pretty quick and got a year probation. Now compare that to what a lot of those other people got. The committee doesn't tell you that Trump requested aid such as National Guard, but was denied by Nancy Pelosi. And HBO footage shows her repeatedly saying she takes full responsibility.
We have responsibility, Terry. We did not have any accountability for what was going on there, and we should have. This is ridiculous. You're going to ask me in the middle of the thing when they've already breached the inaugural stuff that should we call the Capitol Police? I mean the National Guard? Why weren't the National Guard there to begin with?
They thought that they had sufficient resources.
That is not a question of how they have. They don't know. They clearly didn't know, and I take responsibility for not having them just prepare for.
As Speaker, she controlled the House operations and security on the House side of the Capitol, and how the request for National Guard was denied. Yet we still find the news article saying it isn't true when the footage has been released, so long since aired, and you can find them too. It's probably worth mentioning those on the January 6th committee were 7 Democrats and 2 Republicans, and both of those Republicans has always had an axe to grind with Trump, especially Liz Cheney. Adam Schiff was also on the committee, and we know his bias against Trump is lies that he peddled during the Russian collusion investigation. So while the story the committee puts out is enough to paint a picture, it is also clear that important parts of the picture was deliberately left out. Now, I will admit, even with those details that I've mentioned, some people will still draw the same conclusions as before, thinking Trump deliberately incited an insurrection. However, now you see why so many people think otherwise. The real question is, why can't they give all the information and put a fair, balanced number of Republicans and Democrats without access to grind or a bias against Trump if they really wanted you, the American people, to make your own minds up fairly and freely? I'll let you think on that. Until next time, love you all. God bless.